and Miller Weinkauf. We're moving ahead with it, and we're hoping that the progress on the pandemic is solid, and we hope that people all get vaccinated. So that'll be a big project going forward. That's it from my chair. Jasmine, can you give us a quick update on social activities?
And Jasmine, you're unmuted now.
Perfect. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Hi guys. I don't know if a lot of you know me. My name is Jasmine Wazani, and I'm fairly new to the neighborhood. And the first thing that I said is I want to get involved. And so very excited to be here and very excited to be now part of the board as social chair. And some of the things that we're going to kind of look into is I know a lot of you had answered Shirley's survey that she sent out, and the #1 response was social. Everybody wanted to get more involved with social and wanted more social activities. So I'm really, really excited. Got a lot going on in my head, and I think we're going to be full of activities. So the first thing I wanted to highlight is the upcoming Porch-Pop in. I want to thank Susan Carr for kind of setting that up. It's going to be 226 at the courtyard of 400 North Church. And if you haven't seen that area, all I did was Google it first, and it is gorgeous. It's got a big, beautiful archway, a lot of lights and benches, and a ton of greenery. So I think you guys will really enjoy that. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out. And as Walter mentioned, we have the Fourth Ward CLT emails now, so you can email me at social@fourthwardclt.org. The next item that I have to update you guys on is go ahead and mark your calendars. We want to continue to stay fit while we're stuck at home. So one of the things that we have, Shirley was able to connect me with a personal trainer in the area, Chaz Deal. He's been a personal trainer for 8 years. 6 in Charlotte and at the Charlotte Athletic Club. He's certified by the American College of Sports and Medicine. We have 2 options. So we're going to have a 12 o'clock option, so for anybody who is available during the day, and a 6 p.m. option. So Tuesday, 2/23, so February the 23rd at 6 p.m. is our first option. And then Wednesday, February 24th at 12 p.m. We are going to add that to the calendars. And what I will do as well is if you're interested, shoot me an email, again at social@fourthwardclt.org, and I'm going to start a sign-up list. Space is going to be limited. We really think there's going to be a lot of interest, and it's going to be a great way for us to kind of kick off this campaign for fitness for Fourth Ward. So I think that's all I have, Walter. Again, reach out to me if you have any questions. Oh, sorry, I do have one more thing. We had over 15 people that were interested in social activities and getting involved from the social standpoint. So you will be receiving an email from me, but I wanted to go ahead and give everybody another opportunity because we have over 40-something people on this call. So please reach out if you're interested, and then we'll set up a Zoom call just like this and kind of talk through some of the upcoming activities that I have in mind. And we'll be distributing that amongst the committee. So I appreciate it, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Jasmine.
And one correction, it wasn't me, it was our neighbor, Jim Thompson, found the connection.
Thank you.
That's good. We've got an exciting update here from Chris.
And Chris, you need to unmute. Oh, you're
okay.
unmuted.
Great, thank you. Good to see everybody. I'm driving in a car right now, so that's why got this funny lighting going on. But I'll try to be as quick as possible. We, as some of you may heard, there was a bit of a car kerfuffle a few weeks ago at 9th and Poplar. Somebody either drove through the park or drove into that little park there. We are trying to get it fixed. They knocked down some poles, and when I drove by this afternoon, it was not yet fixed. We are working with getting either the Parks Department or the city to get that fixed. I think VK will update us on whether or not they were able to apprehend the person who drove through the park. I think they got a tag number, but I'm not sure if they actually have a suspect. We did have a safety meeting last week with about 4 or 5 people on the safety committee. We are lucky to have somebody on the committee who is actually designed the algorithm for the San Diego Police Department. Her name is Nancy. She lives in the Poplar, and she designed the algorithm that helps allocate police resources. And she made it quite clear that police departments do use an algorithm to allocate resources. So if you see something and you call it in, that could be a justification for additional resources. Also, if you are feeling unsafe when you call that in, if there's some kind of physical threat, that would accelerate police response. A lot of times you hear people say that, well, the police didn't respond. That's because they triage those calls, and perhaps VK can speak to that. But if there's a threat to a person, that will put that call to the top of the list. So if you do feel threatened, do not feel shy about expressing that to the 911 operator, because that would accelerate police response. We also talked about streetlight outages. Those should be reported through the Duke Power website. They then tag it with a work order. And when you get confirmation of that, please forward that information to me and to VK so we can follow through and make sure they get it done. There was some questions about unleashed dogs running around in Fourth Ward Park because people feel unsafe when a big dog approaches them. So we've asked CMPD to check on that, as well as the park rangers. I was there the other day with my dog, and you may have seen that on the Facebook page that Murray was aware of the animal control the park. They were there looking for people who don't have the dogs on leash, because it may sound minor, but it could actually impact people's enjoyment of the park, because they may not feel safe when a big dog comes lunging up at them. And finally, there was some issues about traffic, and the traffic issues are twofold. There's the loud noise of the cars with revving their engines. The police cannot do much about that because it's something they have to see at the time, and it's actually hard to prove in court. So it's really not it's not pursued too vigorously because of the difficulty in prosecuting those kinds of cases. However, if you do see racing, do call that in, because they do want to get on top of that. They do want to allocate resources to that. We are working on that. We're aware that it's a problem, and we are working with our partners at CMP to make sure that gets done. So that I didn't talk too fast, and I think VK and Officer Urban are going to elaborate on some of those points. So I want to turn it over to them.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Got you.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on a few things. One being the incident with the park at 9th and Poplar Streets. Apparently a vehicle ran into and through the park, possibly. And there is damage there. We do have a vehicle, and along with the vehicle tag, that means we do have insurance information, but we have not been able to locate and determine who was driving the vehicle at the moment, which is also another part of it. But we have a meeting as early as in the morning. We're going to meet a gentleman there to try to determine who is actually responsible for the park. We know that Mecklenburg County Parks and Recreation does have signage in that park, but it's also likely that that could be property of the city of Charlotte. So that's going to determine who's going to be responsible for doing the work there. We are still getting complaints for traffic. As Mr. Connolly said, that yes, the loud mufflers, there are a lot of loud mufflers that are sold and installed on cars that are legal. The ordinances are written in that we do have something if there's a vehicle where the mufflers have been removed. But most times there is a muffler on the car, and that makes it very difficult for us in order to hold folks accountable on that particular, for breaking the law there with the vehicles with loud mufflers. As far as racing goes, the important thing for racing is that we can not only catch them, but we at least need tags. And I know that is very hard to get a tag for a car that's racing, especially if you only see it and hear it. One thing we need to be sure is that when we say that there's racing, we need to be sure that I know you can always hear a car's tires screech as they take off and make really fast starts and rev their engines. But it actually, the times that we've been out, we have had a hard time, and we've had a hard time securing footage that vehicles were lining up to actually race. Yes, they're making what they call hot dog starts, and we can catch people for that. And we can actually charge people for making too fast a start, screeching their tires and starting. But being able to catch them has been proven to be difficult. We have many times initiated traffic stops on vehicles doing that, and they pretty much just continue to they either outrun us or don't stop. And in those instances, we are not authorized to chase within the city of Charlotte. And those are not the CMPD policies where we do not chase people who just refuse to stop for a traffic stop. But this is a problem, an ongoing problem, and it's a department-wide problem. We're seeing it all over Charlotte. I don't know if you saw the video from about a week ago. There was a group of cars that brought I-77 to a standstill at Tavola Road in order to, I guess they were hot dogging, peel outs, burnouts, circles. But when you bring a major interstate to a standstill, that's pretty serious. So there are talks all over Charlotte with the Highway Patrol, as well as CMPD and other neighboring communities about how we can try to bring this under control. Or does anyone have any questions for us about any other issues?
I think you answered. Todd said, could the police position cruisers along North Church Street on Friday and Saturday nights between 8 and midnight to help you catch the revvers and the racers? And then he also mentioned this is the entry point where these vehicles enter Fourth Ward area. Okay,
give me those places again.
So Todd, can you put because maybe you were, is the North Church Street, is that the entry that you mean, Todd? Or maybe I can, if you can respond to the chat. Or if I can find you, there's 51 people on now. Oh, there we go. Todd Scott.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so hey, Mr. Vincent. So this is the issue. People get off on that Church Street exit coming off of 277.
Right.
They sit at the corner there waiting at Church Street. They turn right. That's where it starts.
Yeah. I think that's also the location where we placed a radar trailer there at one point. And the data collected on that trailer, maybe it's because it's close to where they exit and turn on the Church Street from 11th Street. But the data there did not reflect high speeds at that point.
Yeah, because they can't get speed up, and they can't get speed up until they hit the corner. So you have to place it further up in front of the two 24-story towers and across from, I'm sorry, on the treadmill, guys, and across from the Charlotte Ballet.
Yeah, and we run into
there.
We run
and if you also put somebody in the parking lot at the fire station, and then further down the street, they're gonna catch them. It's just a matter of being there.
Yeah, we run into issues with that trailer with where we can actually place it and have clearance and have enough room. It's just one of those things that has to be close to the road, not have trees in the way, and a number of things. We have already spoken to units. We're limited as far as traffic units in the division, but we do have a few. to try to get whoever we can as much as we can. We are also working on having another project along with our DWI and traffic enforcement unit, have them respond. We ran an op, and we've run several weekend nights because we know one of the locations that some of these cars come from is a venue that's relatively new to the area. But cars leaving Church Street, yes, we can surely stress and ask for units to do some traffic enforcement along in that corridor and along that area.
And then Kevin Aniston said 10th Street is another major section to the high-speed starts. And I think you had one of those thingies on 10th Street at one point.
We did.
Thank you. If anyone else has questions for the officers or for Chris Conley, please leave them in the chat. We'll save those chat questions and get them to you, gentlemen. Perhaps
we did have one more comment. Thank you for your continued service to protecting our community. That's from Melissa Ricker.
Yay.
Okay, thank you. It's much appreciated.
Thank you. John, can you step up quickly, reintroduce yourself and give us an update on what you're doing?
And unmute. Uh-oh. You're still, oh, there we go.
There we go. Sorry, just took a moment. I am trainable. So I'm on the BEST committee that you probably haven't heard very much about so far, but we're going to make a big splash at some point. So I'm on the Partnerships and Community Committee. And what we are trying to do is we're working together. We're going to work towards developing a package of offerings to try and increase and build some sustained revenue for Fourth Ward. So historically, as everybody has seen, we've had the garden tour and the holiday tour, and those have been great generators for our community. And obviously with the pandemic, those have not been obviously taking place. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is generating some other ideas for that. And in fact, I think we already have some folks that have already made some great suggestions. Chris Connolly and I believe Fred Irvin or Jim Thompson, somebody suggested maybe possibly doing a virtual run that we can put together, a potential event. So those are some things that we're going to be talking about, trying to figure out different ways that we can generate revenue, but through actually putting together some events, as well as discussing different membership levels and so on and so forth. So I've emailed a few folks. I've heard back from a few already. If anybody is interested in helping, I would love to hear from you, and would like to put you on. We might anticipate having a very, very short, brief committee meeting just to start generating ideas to kick it off. And then from there, we'll start working on a build out to make recommendations to the rest of the board. So in any event, I'm looking forward to hearing from you, Colleen Turner, my neighbor. So anybody else that would love to join, I'd love to have you. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Shirley, I think it's you.
Thank you. And I'm unmuted. So far, our top number has been 51 on the call tonight. And this month's service project, our volunteer project, is a coat drive. Bring your gently used or new coats to Jim and Gloria's porch, same place as last month. Or you can also drop them at 5th and Poplar Concierge and tell them you're leaving it for Shirley Dudley, and I'll pick them up every couple of days. And the drive starts today and ends next week, the 23rd of February. If this is a lot of information on the call, the exercise class, the coat drives, and if you're not able to make copious notes during the meeting, then go to fourthwardclt.org and click on the events page. And you will see all those things listed, not the exercise class, but hopefully by tomorrow we'll have that up or the next day up on the website. But that's your place to go if you want to see what's happening and check on the details. Next up, update on the tent village. we have had more than 60 people, 60 people, have been relocated out of the tent village. Some have been reunited with their families. Some have been put in shelters, and some have relocated to other housing. There is still availability in the shelters and other housing for those that would like to leave the tent city. Now, if you drive by and it looks like there's the same amount of tents, it's because when people are move out, they do not take their tents with them. So the Charlotte Mecklenburg police are working to move out the tents that are the extra tents that are not needed. So that'll take a little while. Moving along, the next topic is board training. And your board is sharpening their skills with training for you. We have board training coming up in the next couple of weeks with the City of Charlotte, and the majority of your board has signed up. And the topic for the meeting, it's focused on ways to improve our neighborhood. Also, your board chair, Walter Sanders, who's been leading the meeting, and I are halfway through board chair training with the North Carolina Center for Nonprofits. So we want you to know that we're committed to becoming better equipped to be able to serve you. And I think up next is our special guest for the night.
Thanks, Shirley. Hi, Jenny.
Hey guys. It's nice to see so many familiar faces. Well, my name is Jenni Gaisbauer. I'm the Executive Director of the Charlotte Mecklenburg Library Foundation, just right across the street from you. And tonight I want to share with you some plans on the new main library and the block and a half as well that we are part of. So Karen Beach, my colleague, is on this call as well. And if you have questions while we present, please feel free to put them in chat, and I'll whip through this pretty fast so you can answer questions or ask questions at the end. But you can also reach out to me after the call via email or cell phone, and Walter can give that to you if you have questions. So I'm going to start. I'm going to share my screen and get this presentation up.
We got it, Jenny.
All right, here we go. So this is going to be the front of your new main library, but I'm going to come back to images. I'm going to start with the block and a half. So what you're seeing here is what you know of this today. 6 and North Tryon Street, College Street on the far, at the top of the screen, and 7th Street to your left. And I'm sharing this image with you for one thing, is one, to just let you see it again, because you know this is your reality, but also the landowners of this block. So you see right here, and I hope my cursor is showing, this large white building is your library, which sits on 2 parcels of land. And we are a landowner. The library is a separate corporation. We are not part of the county. So that's important to note. The other landowners, right in front of the library is that fountain. That is owned by the city, Arequipa Park. The other landowner is the county to the left of the library. The county owns Spirit Square and the 2 theaters, as well as all that parking. When you cross over 7th Street, that where the police department is, and that parcel of land, that is owned by Bank of America. And then when you go over where the Behringer Hotel used to be, that is owned by Olivian, which is now the housing, used to be the housing authority. So, but the landowners in this, the 4 landowners, the county, the city, and the library and Bank of America, we sold our land to a master developer, and that master developer is called Metropolitan. This is what Metropolitan is going to turn the block and a half into. And so I will quickly tell you, and you might have seen these images before. The library is obviously in the front. So we're going to take half of the parcel that we owned. We're going up 5 floors. Right behind us is a 30-story grade A office tower. And This is going to be, it's been announced, but this is Truist. They are going to have their technology and innovation office in here. And so they kind of build a campus now that they're also in the Hearst Tower. You will see here, the theaters are still there. McGlowan still stands, as well as the Duke Energy Theater, but the backside of Spirit Square will be taken off permanently. And the county has agreed to invest $40 million into those two theaters to renovate them and update them. Right here, and I hope you see my cursor, to the left of the office tower is going to be a hotel. And that is a product, it's a Curio, which is an upscale product, I believe, of the Hilton. And that will also have retail on the bottom level and outside dining. Duckworth's will stay exactly where it's at. Across the street, this is going to be 320 to 350 keys. Basically, this is going to be a condo. This is going to be market value. And it's getting a little bigger every time I hear the story, but I do believe it's about 350 today. And right behind that is going to be a parking deck and retail on the bottom. And so this is a lot different than what we're sitting on today. This is the projected economic impact. And I'm not going to read verbatim all of this, but I did want to, just so you know and you're aware of the development cost and how much jobs and what it's putting back into our economy. But what's the most important thing I want you to note is that 18 million of the land sales are going into affordable housing. 10 million will go into Olivian's project on that block I told you where the Behringer Hotel is. And then 8 million was already allocated to 3 different affordable housing projects outside of Uptown. And we're basically topping them off. And so this provided us an opportunity to provide about 400 units of affordable housing. The developer tried to get it in this project, but it's just too expensive. And so that was their hope, is to still provide it for our community. So now I'm going to shift to the main library. And what we are building is definitely more than a library. And libraries today are much different than they were 20, 50 years ago. They really are more of a community center. And so really the way we look at this, it's a hub of collaboration. Half the programs that will be delivered in the new main library will either be delivered through community partners or the library. And so it's really meant for a space for others to provide their services as well. It's going to be very technology forward, not to just be technology forward for the sake of it, but really user friendly and for people to learn new ways of doing technology. This will be a destination for residents and visitors. So while this is for Mecklenburg County, we are building something that will be a destination, something that you're going to be very proud of, that you bring your guests and family members when they come in to visit you. And so we will even have a new residence center on the second floor of the new main library to provide resources for our newcomers. And then the last thing is, this is a center for connection. We will have an incredible digital visualization lab in the library, really to share public data. And for folks like you, homeowners associations, to get together and to look at a lot of data on screens to help make decisions and have your meetings. And then the goals for the new main library. These are really our programming goals. Is 1, to create stronger public engagement. 2, increase economic opportunity, not only through programming and resources that we provide, but other community partners. And then networked community resources. So now we'll get into the images. I have about 4 images for you, 4 or 5 images of what the main library is going to look like. And our architects are a firm called Snøhetta. They are an international firm. They have 2 headquarters, one in Oslo, Norway, where they're originally from, and then one in New York, and then small satellite offices throughout the country. They are incredible folks, and I know some of you have already seen some of their work. While they've done amazing libraries, the Great Alexandria Library in Egypt, they did that about 25 years ago. They've also done the Hunt Library on NC State's campus. They renovated the MoMA in San Francisco. They've done incredible projects. So if you're into architecture, I would highly recommend you go to their website. It's really incredible. So things to note on this. This building is 5 stories with an active bottom level. It's 115,000 square feet. All the back office operations of the current library are going off-site permanently to Support Service Center on Eastway and North Tryon. And so there will be more public facing spaces in the new main library. It is meant to be very transparent, lots of glass so you can see in. It's also a form of trying to be welcoming to everyone. And I would also note on this is that this front area, which it's pretty true to form. This is going to be a huge outdoor area. We call it kind of the terrace area out here in the front. There will be programming on this. There will be concerts, lots of mixing and mingling where people are going to, just people watch. But this is really meant to be also, the building is meant to be set back. And so you can kind of tell it's set back, but it's set back like 10 feet. It's a lot. So if I go to the next, this is the aerial view, and this is by far my favorite view. And I think Walter heard that the other day. There's a lot of things going on with this. One, it pays homage to McGlowan, and which used to be the First Baptist Church. Our original library was built in 1903, funded by Andrew Carnegie. He gave the church $5,000 for their organ system so they would make sure that the outside matched the outside of the new main library. And we have a beautiful image of that. But really, we wanted our architects to really cherish and pay homage to the old with the new. And so as you see, the stairs in front of McGlowan wrap around the whole front of the building. The underhangs of the library will have copper, and they will let them patina like the top of the cathedral. I also note there's 2 very generous terraces. The one on the 2nd floor wraps around the front of the building, and the one on the 5th floor is about 1,300 square feet, and great for letting people either be out there during the day, but also entertaining. This is the view if you are standing at Discovery Place. Things to note in here is that to the far right, that is a cafe. That cafe will be available morning to night. It will be more pick up and go types of things. It won't be like order from a menu. So you can get coffee, bagels in the morning, something quick to grab and go for lunch, but there will be wine. There will be wine at night. And so that is another thing that we hope you'll just come over, people watch, and have a glass of wine. The other thing I would like you to note on this image is that 3-story glass prawl. They call it a prawl, but I'm Minnesotan and I have a very thick accent, and so I don't say it right. But those are 3 dominant floors. And what those are is on this first, which is the 3rd floor right here, this is going to be a large research area. And then the 4th floor is going to be the new Carolina room, which is going to be incredible. And so Tom Fenimore, I think this room you will feel very happy about. The 5th floor, that top floor that's looking off on North Tryon Street, that is a destination reading room. That is the only space that I would say is traditional library. This is like green lamps and big tables. So we're very excited about that floor. This is the image if you're standing at the Dunhill Hotel. Things to note, if you're walking up 6th Street, you will be able to look down into a row of windows, and down below is going to be an event space for 300 people. This event space can also be subdivided in 2 for conferences or gatherings. We will have 15 different meeting rooms in this library for the public to use, everything from 2 people to 40 people. So your board meetings can be held here, other meetings that you may have. This is the lobby. This building is meant to go from loud to quiet. So again, this is not your typical library. This is a lot of activity is meant to happen in this space. So this is if you're walking through the front door, to the right is that cafe, which has a door entrance as well. And if you walk straight through, there is a mid-block plaza entrance as well. To the left, when you walk by that signage, that digital signage, that will be the entrance into McGlowan Theater. And then keep walking, that will be the entrance to the Duke Energy Theater. That is going to be the only way you can enter the two theaters moving forward, which we're really excited about because that creates an energy and lots of great activity going on in the library, a lot of nights and weekends. Also to note on this is that if you look up, there is a wonderful skylight that you don't have to crane your neck straight up, but it's just a gradual climb up. And on each floor that you go up, you're able to see what's happening on the other floor. So again, it's meant to really connect people. This big back wall of books is going to be where the public art will be. We're working with the Public Arts Commission and Arts and Science Council, and they have picked an artist that they will announce soon that I think you will be super excited about. She's not local, but she is in the United States and really a rising star. And we're really excited about her. So what's inside? Every floor has a theme. And as I said, the bottom level, we're not calling it the basement. The bottom level is really that multi-purpose floor, flexible event space for people to use. And then the main floor is called the community floor. And those are things that are going to be on it. So the lobby itself, if we have things going on in the theaters and something going down in the event, that lobby is so big, it can hold over 500 people comfortably. So that just gives you an idea of the scope and size of it. Our largest private funder is Knight Foundation. And so we are naming the lobby for them. We will have a programming forum right in the middle that is going to be activated all day long with different types of programming. The popular collection will be on that floor, as well as some meeting rooms and immersive theater. We'll have 2 immersive theaters in the library. And these are just really large programmable screens that will share what's going on. It might show videos, it might show documentaries, but it's constantly showcasing. Second floor is opportunity and innovation. This is the meaty floor. This is where a lot of activity will happen. This is where a lot of the technology is. So again, I told you about that digital visualization lab. There will be an opportunity and career center, innovation lab, adults, emerging adult space. So this library is not for children. While there will be programming, intergenerational programming happening, as you know, we have Imaginon 2 blocks away. So we are not trying to cannibalize what is going on at Imaginon. This is really a space for emerging adults, for those teens that are growing out of Imaginon. Third floor is research and reference. Fourth floor is history and genealogy. Again, the Robinson Spangler Carolina room is going to be magnificent. And then the fifth floor, and I know Tom Fenimore, and I heard somebody else who's a writer, this is our readers and writers floor. With that destination reading room, we're going to have a writer's studio. We are actually starting to create an author in residence program for our community to have an author doing a piece of work that they're doing, but also doing programs and classes for our community. And then the patio and outside terrace. And there will be books throughout this building. I promise you that. Lots of comfortable seating and meeting rooms. Here's the timeline, and I don't know if you can read it very well, so I apologize ahead of time. I'll try to share this verbally. So we've already started this support service center. That is well underway. That started at the end of last year. They should be done with that this summer. And then you will start seeing the library vacate. Staff will start leaving that in September and October. So main library will vacate then. And then in December, you will start seeing abatement and demolition. And they will basically work main library, Spirit Square, and that office tower all around the same time. So I apologize ahead of time for any traffic issues. That's not my job. I'm really sorry about that. But the good news is we will start construction. Really, they'll start building this up in 2022, and we will be back in the main library in the summer of 2024 and open for people in the fall. And so it is, and it's a pretty solid timeline now. I mean, everything is really in place for this to happen. So this is the campaign. Sorry, this is the area that Karen and I work the hardest on in our world. And this is a private-public partnership, like a lot of things in Charlotte. It is a it's a comprehensive campaign of $135 million. And so the good news is the county has really stepped up to invest $65 million. That does not include their most recent investment in those theaters of $40 million, which is not included in this because it happened kind of later. But they really are positioning us for success. The foundation's raising $70 million. As you see, $50 million of that is for the building, for capital. And then the rest is really around programming, endowment, technology for the library system, the 19 other branches that we have around Mecklenburg County. And in next year, we will open our 21st branch in Pineville. And we will also have a mobile library hit the streets this summer. So, so we're growing, which is a good thing. But at the bottom, you see we're almost to 99 million of the campaign. We're right now in the private major gift side. And then when the building comes down, we will go in a very large community-wide campaign where you really get the breadth, like most of your donors during that time. So that, I'll stop sharing. I did that really fast. And I also have additional images as far as what's going to happen on each floor. Tom, I know I owe you those images of the floor plans. And I can share this with you if you want a copy of this, but I do appreciate your time. I hope you guys are excited. You know, I think that if the question hasn't come yet, the question is what's going to happen to services when we are closed. And so I just want to assure you that we're working for several locations that you'll be able to pick up your books and holds. Then we're also we are working with some of the churches to be able to provide computer access for those who don't have access to computers today. And the last thing I will say, because this question's come up a lot, we are really, really committed to our population that's not, that does not have homes, homeless population. And the services, we made sure that the services we offer today will obviously continue, but we're actually stepping it up. And right before COVID happened, we did have a social worker working in the main library to really connect resources for all our citizens. And we're going to continue that. And we even will have private consultation spaces in the new main library. But we realize that there's so much we can do and we're committed to that. And so I know I'll get that question. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that. And happy to take questions if anyone has them.
Jenny?
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I think there's some questions coming in the chat.
Yeah.
I know people want to get off at 7:30. If you could hang with us, maybe we can go longer, but I do want to get Kevin, our treasurer, in, and then maybe we can cycle back to you.
Yeah,
if you and Karen hang out, please.
Okay.
Thanks, Jenny. Kevin?
All right, I'm just going to turn off my video. The reason is my internet does not work very well here in the rain, so I may cut off. It's already happened a couple times on my prior meetings. So hello, everyone, and I'm back in Charlotte for a couple days and head back to California to stay warm, and then I come back here. Anyways, 2020, very interesting year. I'm just going to start with just very basic information. Sorry, I don't have anything to present, but just simply, follow the bouncing ball, and I'll have as few hops here as possible. With the Friends of Fourth Ward, we really have currently three revenue streams. And we know that we have the garden tour, the holiday home tour, and then also our membership dues that make up the bulk of our revenue. And just to put some things in perspective, that our garden tour can generate a profit of anywhere between 20 and 20% plus. So that may tune to the tune of anything from $5,000 to $10,000+. Our holiday home tour profit, which is our big one, can generate anywhere between 55% profit margin, which could yield as much as 40 to 50,000 per annum. And then our membership dues are roughly around 10,000. The bulk of that is coming from condos. Those monies that are derived from that, what we look to do is utilize and push that money back into the community through some of our outreach programs and just donations, outreach, and improvement. What we did this past year with COVID that upended pretty much everything, we're an events business, and guess what? Our events went to zero. At the start of the year, we made an effort, an initiative to actually spend some of the dollars and push it back out into community outreach before, of course, COVID happened, and we were starting to make moves on that. We were planning for the garden tour to happen, and it did not. We still had to pay some contractors because, as you can imagine, you plan these events. Everything is not done on a full volunteer or ambassador level. We have to get support from external sources to prepare for these things because they are pretty big events. But we went negative on the garden tour versus a positive. We had similar thing happen with the holiday home tour where we looked to pivot, still keep something continuing around the holiday home tour, yet no revenues came in. So in short, we spent a good amount of money in this past calendar year. And now we're coming up to 2021, where we now have to just be very cognizant of the dollars that we have, because again, as Walter mentioned, that we could have a garden tour, but at the same time, the garden tour could be pulled, the rug could be pulled right at last minute, which causes us to go negative again. And something similar could happen with the holiday home tour. We are looking to be quite optimistic because both of them could generate some significant dollars because everyone has been cooped up at home, helping propel, some decent profits that, again, we can in turn send back into the community and community outreach and that type of thing. So we are navigating and having discussions about the 2021 budget. We have not put one together yet, as we are now just starting to assemble what an outlook may look like for this year. But certainly that is the challenge that we have, and just trying to, again, be mindful of some of the costs that are potentially incurred if an event does not happen, yet we are still trying to plan for them, again, months in advance.
Thank you, Kevin. I think Kevin wrapped up, if I can see the mute on him. Keith Richardson, did you join the call? I can't see you on the view. Are you with us tonight? Give him a second to respond. Okay, we'll move on real quick.
He is not. He's not on the call tonight. Okay,
thank you for confirming. I have just one housekeeping announcement, and maybe we can see, did Kristen join the call for an update on the green team?
Kristen was unable to access her internet and cannot get on the call.
Great. Let me make one housekeeping announcement and then we'll get back to Jenny if she's available to answer any questions. May we run a little longer? Shirley, is that okay with you?
Whatever you want, Walter.
Okay. Peace, love, understanding, and a couple more minutes. Chris Conley, our neighborhood safety chair, is looking for anyone who's interested in helping in his strong efforts. You can reach him at safety@fourthwardclt.org. He's looking for active committee members, and it's an important role that he plays with our community. Kristen's not here. How about if people who do have questions for Jenny, if Jenny, how's your energy? Can you answer any if we have them?
Of course, I'd love to.
Great.
I think most of the questions were directed to me and I've been forwarding them to Karen. Karen, if you want to call out whatever ones you've not been able to answer through the chat.
I think I've been trying to answer most of them. One great one that came through was around a community room and potential charges for the community room. I'll let Jenny provide any more color on this if she knows. I think always the library wants to make use of the library as accessible as possible. And, in the current main library, we only have 3 community rooms. In this new main library, there'll be 15 community rooms. So the opportunities for use is much more than we have currently, as well as lots of other kind of open and flexible spaces. So I'd say stay tuned, I guess, on any policy changes around community room use and charges. And I don't have any other information on that tonight, but Jenny, I don't know if you want to add anything there on that one.
I would just say a lot of the rooms are going to be smaller. So like if you guys individually ever want to use one of those rooms, we won't be charging for that. It's kind of like very similar to what Foundation for the Carolinas, they have all those community rooms available for people to use during the day. And I think the biggest thing is we knew that they couldn't meet all the needs. So we didn't plan this like in a bubble. We really talked to them of like, what is the need and how many should we have to help meet that community need? So as far as like wanting to do something at night or on weekends, there will be probably charges. This does give the library the opportunity for an earned revenue stream. So if your child wants to get married at the library, give us a call.
And then the other question that I saw from a couple of people had to do around lane closures during construction. And I'm going to let Jenny take that one.
I'm not sure I know that either yet. That is working with the city, but there is going to be a bike lane right coming up on our side of 6th Street. And so that will be coming soon. But the whole plan has been that Foundation for the Carolinas would finish their project and then we would come next. So I did talk to them recently and they're getting there, and COVID has actually been pretty good to them because they can get a lot done out there. I think the glass framing for them is supposed to be happening really soon.
So I'd say stay tuned after, demolition and construction begins into this year and into 2022. And I'm sure we'll be able to share more then.
Karen, your website is magnificent. Can you post the URL if you haven't already?
Yes, I'd be happy to. I might have mistakenly posted that privately, so let me do it publicly, which is foundation.cmlibrary.org. And we have lots of images, the same images that Jenny shared tonight, as well as some video, lots of other information about what's inside. There's a video by the architects really talking about the new main library from their perspective. So we invite you to check it out.
And many of you are part of our story. I mean, a lot of you probably know this, but Betty Chafin's late husband was really one of the first people to bring kind of the conversation back of the future of the main library in 2014 and ran a task force. And Diane is on our campaign council. A lot of you are generous donors of the foundation and our library system. So thank you very much for all you're doing. And we're always here to answer questions, and everything's all this information is available anytime you need it.
Thanks, Jenny. On that happy note, it's amazing to get the update on the library. If there's no other pressing issues, I think we'll close the meeting.
There was one other comment asking if you can share your slides from this evening. And if so, if you can email them to Walter and we'll make them available to the neighborhood.
Yep.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you for the time. This was really nice to be able to see so many people. We don't see many people anymore. So thank you so much.
Thanks
Jenny.
for having us.
Very nice.
You're welcome. All right, good night, everybody. Stay safe and stay dry. Thank you.
Thank you.